Hey everybody, it's great to see you all again. Welcome back to the show. Today, we have something truly fascinating to discuss. Our brains are amazing, right? They are incredibly complex and capable of so much more than we often realize. They're constantly taking in information from the world around us. That's perception. It's the process by which we interpret and understand sensory information. It's how we make sense of our senses: sight, smell, taste, touch, and hearing. Each sense provides us with unique information about our environment, but it's not just about sensing things. It's about how we process and interpret these sensations. Our brains don't just record the world like a camera, they interpret it. That's cognition. It's the mental action of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. Think of it like this. Perception is taking a picture, and cognition is deciding what that picture means and how to organize it in your photo album. Now here's the thing. This process is influenced by many factors. How we perceive and think, how we understand the world. It's not just about what's in our heads. It's also about the context in which we live. It's also about what's around us, the culture we grow up in. Think about it. Our cultural background shapes our perceptions and thoughts in profound ways. Culture is like the lens we see the world through. It colors our experiences and influences our interpretations. So today we're going on a fascinating journey to explore how culture shapes our minds. We'll look at how different cultural contexts can lead to different ways of thinking and perceiving the world. I'm talking about how we perceive things, how we think, and even how we remember things. Our memories are often tied to cultural experiences and shared histories. It's going to be fun, I promise. We'll dive into stories, examples, and research that highlight the incredible diversity of human thought and perception. So buckle up and let's dive in. Get ready to see the world through a new lens and appreciate the richness of our shared human experience. Have you ever noticed how differently people from various cultures see things? It's incredible. The way we perceive the world is not just a matter of individual differences, but is deeply influenced by the cultural context we grow up in. Our culture shapes our perceptions in so many ways, from the colors we notice to the faces we recognize. For example, certain colors might hold specific meanings in one culture, but be completely neutral in another. This cultural lens affects how we interpret everything around us. For instance, studies have shown that people from cultures that place a high value on social harmony, like Japan, are more likely to pay attention to background details and the relationships between objects in a scene. This means they might notice things that others might overlook, such as the harmony between elements in a landscape. On the other hand, people from individualistic cultures, like the United States, tend to focus more on the main object in the foreground. They might prioritize the central figure in a painting or the main subject in a photograph, often overlooking the surrounding context. It's like those optical illusions where you see either a vase or two faces. Your culture might influence what you see first. These illusions are a perfect example of how our background can shape our initial perceptions and interpretations.
Exactly. It's fascinating how our cultural background can shape even the most basic aspects of our perception. From the way we interpret art to how we engage with our environment, culture plays a pivotal role. These differences can give us unique insights into how we interact with the world around us. By understanding these cultural influences, we can better appreciate the diversity of human experience and perception.
These cultural differences in perception can sometimes lead to misunderstandings. Imagine someone from a culture where direct eye contact is considered disrespectful. They might avoid looking you in the eye during a conversation. Now, someone from a culture where eye contact signals honesty and engagement might misinterpret that as a lack of interest or even dishonesty. See, these are the kind of things we need to talk about.
Understanding how culture shapes perception can help us bridge cultural divides and communicate more effectively. It's about having empathy and trying to see the world from another person's point of view.
Okay, so we've talked about perception, but culture also has a big impact on how we think, our cognitive styles. Cognitive styles refer to the preferred way an individual processes information, and these styles can vary significantly across different cultures. Researchers have identified two main cognitive styles, analytic and holistic. These styles are not just academic concepts, they influence everyday activities and interactions. People with an analytic cognitive style tend to focus on individual parts and categorize information based on rules and logic. They break down complex information into smaller, manageable pieces. It's like putting things in neat little boxes with labels. This methodical approach helps in organizing thoughts and actions in a structured manner. This style is more common in Western cultures, where individualism and analytical thinking are highly valued. On the other hand, people with a holistic cognitive style focus on the big picture, looking at relationships and context. They see the world as an interconnected whole. They're more likely to see connections and patterns, understanding how different elements influence each other. This style is more prevalent in East Asian cultures, where community and harmony are emphasized.
Yes, and these cognitive styles influence not just how we think, but also how we solve problems, make decisions, and even how we learn new information. For instance, an analytic thinker might approach a problem by breaking it down into smaller parts, while a holistic thinker might look for overarching themes and connections. It's a fascinating area of study that shows just how deeply culture can influence our cognitive processes. Understanding these differences can enhance cross-cultural communication and collaboration, making it easier to navigate our increasingly globalized world.
Section 5. Logic versus intuition. Different paths to understanding. Now, it's important to note that these are just general tendencies. Not everyone from a particular culture will think the same way, but these different cognitive styles can influence everything from problem-solving to decision-making.
For example, someone with an analytic thinking style might approach a problem by breaking it down into smaller parts and analyzing each part logically. Meanwhile, someone with a holistic thinking style might consider the problem as a whole, looking for patterns and relationships to find a solution. Neither approach is inherently better, they're just different ways of thinking.
Section 6. Where's the individual in collectivism, culture, and the self? Here's another fascinating aspect of culture and cognition: how we see ourselves in relation to others. Cultures can be individualistic or collectivistic, and this has a huge impact on our self-identity.
In individualistic cultures like the United States, the emphasis is on individual achievement and independence. People are encouraged to stand out from the crowd and pursue their own goals. In collectivistic cultures like many Asian cultures, the focus is on group harmony and interdependence. People see themselves as part of a larger social web, where relationships and group goals are more important than individual desires.
Section 7. Memories like souvenirs. Culture's impact on what we remember. Now let's talk about memory. Have you ever noticed how your memories are like little souvenirs from your life experiences? Well, it turns out that culture plays a big role in shaping those memories.
For instance, studies have shown that people from collectivistic cultures tend to have stronger memories for events that involve social interactions and group activities. In contrast, people from individualistic cultures are more likely to remember events that focus on themselves and their personal achievements.
Section 8. Flashbulb memories, remembering where we were when.
You know those vivid memories we have of emotionally charged events, like where we were when we first heard about a major news story? Those are called flashbulb memories.
Well, research has shown that culture can even influence these flashbulb memories. For example, one study found that people from the United States had stronger flashbulb memories for the 9/11 terrorist attacks than people from other countries. This suggests that cultural background can influence the emotional intensity and personal relevance of events, which affects how vividly we remember them. Section 9. Culture's spotlight, directing our attention.
Attention, attention please. Did you know that culture can even shape what we pay attention to? It's like having a mental spotlight that highlights certain things while dimming others.
For example, research has shown that people from East Asian cultures are more sensitive to changes in the background of a scene, while Westerners are more likely to focus on the foreground objects. This difference in attention can be seen in everything from art to website design. East Asian art often features complex backgrounds with subtle details, while Western art tends to emphasize the main subject. Section 10. Culture and the multitasking myth focus in a distracted world.
We live in a world of constant distractions, right? Everywhere you look, there's something vying for your attention. But here's the thing. Our brains aren't actually designed to multitask effectively. And guess what? Culture plays a role here too.
Some cultures value multitasking and see it as a sign of efficiency. Others prioritize focus and concentration on a single task. Understanding these cultural perspectives can help us create more productive and less stressful work environments. Section 11. Open your mind, embracing cultural diversity in perception and cognition. So there you have it. We've explored how culture shapes our minds, from the way we perceive the world to how we think, remember, and even pay attention. The takeaway? Culture is like a kaleidoscope, offering a multitude of perspectives. By understanding and appreciating these diverse viewpoints, we can overcome cultural barriers, communicate more effectively, and create a more inclusive world. Remember, open minds lead to open hearts. Subscribe and don't forget to take care of yourselves. Goodbye.